There's been a lot of talk in the online guitar community lately going over, fake guitar playing, fake guitar players, and the lengths that people go to fake their content and kind of misguide people on what is actually real and authentic. I'm sure you guys have seen those expose videos from guys like Jacob Hansen, where he kind of goes through, different guitarist videos where they claim to be, real, authentic, one take, etc., etc. And then he'll just like go into the video, compare the frames, show the video against the audio that's happening and basically prove that it's not real. I'm not sure if I'm the only one, but like fake guitarists and fake videos and fake playing just doesn't really bother me too much. In fact, seeing this discourse happen online over the past couple of weeks has kind of made me just think the opposite. So much so that in this video, I'll be giving you 3 reasons as to why I think fake guitarists and fake guitar playing is actually a good thing for the guitar community. Now, this video isn't meant to be a dig or a shot at Jacob or any of his content. We actually had a little chat about it over Instagram about this video that I'm making right now. He's a lovely guy, and I actually do enjoy watching the videos because it's cool to see the comments of people who aren't really cluey on how these guitarists are faking their playing and how it's opening their eyes as well as someone who knows all the tricks and knows how people do it. I'm just here to provide a quote unquote counter argument or counter arguments and basically get the community thinking a little bit more as to why this actually might be a good thing for guitarists going forward. I am presenting this viewpoint as what many would consider to be the epitome of a fake guitarist. Obviously, everyone's like moral compass around fake playing and what is and what isn't fake guitar playing is a little different, but it is probably worth noting that I've basically built a career off of music that stemmed from, mimed, pre-recorded cover videos on things like Instagram and YouTube. Every song that I've ever released and recorded myself professionally has had guitars edited exactly to the grid. I even programmed my noise gate threshold live in tandem with a click track so that everything sounds as clean as the record. And if you want to learn how to do that yourself, you can check out the last video that I made because it actually is really cool. To some, I am definitely the epitome of that modern guitarist, that modern age guitarist that often blurs the line between what is genuine and what is not. But this is why I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. Reason number 1. Fake guitarists push future generations in their guitar playing. One of the big problems with fake guitarists is that they kind of just provide an unrealistic expectation to budding musicians. And unfortunately, most of the time, those budding musicians, myself included at some point in time, are somewhat ignorant to the full extent of how they're being tricked or bamboozled into thinking that that video is 100% real. However, I do think that because of that, there is a genuine argument to be made in saying that being influenced by something that is just shy of being humanly possible is what will eventually drive someone somewhere to break that barrier. I believe that in its entirety because I lived it. I experienced it, and I now have the hindsight to realize that that is what happened to me and that is what happened to my guitar playing. I've actually made a video talking about this a couple years ago now, but just to recap, when you think about all these modern bands that we listen to these days, like Spirit Box and Periphery and Sleep Token and all this stuff, all these bands that are, pushing the envelope, recording guitars to the grid. If you look at the recording and like production limitations of a band like Metallica, going up to a band like Periphery, going up to budding guitarists like myself and beyond in future generations who are, 10 years younger than me. As each generation has gone on, the standard for that playing and the standard of what that sounds like on a record has just gotten more and more perfect. And I'm 100% certain that that has subconsciously kind of rubbed off on me because when I was getting into my formative years of learning prog metal and learning all that metalcore stuff, I would listen to those bands like Error and Periphery and Animals as Leaders and really kind of take that for what it was and be like, okay, well, these guys play that clean. I need to play that clean myself. And now sitting here as a 25-year-old who plays guitar and plays that style of music, I'd like to consider myself somewhat of a clean player because unbeknownst to me at the time, that was all perfectly produced and that's what I was modeling my playing off. And I see it now in my private lessons. I've had students from all over the world. I've had like 15-year-old kids from Italy and their favorite guitar players are like Manuel Gardner-Fernandez and Tim Henson because that is, I guess, like the new generation of guitar player. And I'm watching them play Goat and play Rain and play all of these amazing songs that are incredibly difficult to play, almost like robots. They play it exactly the way that it sounds because they might not be as informed as we are in terms of like recording in a DAW and punching in note for note. They just kind of, again, take that for what it is and then try to replicate it subconsciously within their playing. So fake guitarists and fake playing and all that stuff associated with it will eventually and ultimately provide a benchmark for future generations going forward as they will then model their playing off of that that perfect example. Which again, as generations have gone on and on and on, it's only pushed the possibilities of guitar playing. And that's why every week you see a new shred guy popping up like Spiro or Baxty or Hild Music. Like there's all these guys who are just seemingly coming out of the woodwork. They're all young and they can all really play. And whether they realized it or not, I'm sure that some of that fake guitar playing did influence their style of play. Reason number 2, fake guitarists will never be able to do it live. Whether it's live shows, NAMM playthroughs, masterclasses, videos of them just jamming, whatever it is, any live showcase is either going to highlight the shortcomings of a guitarist or rise them up and kind of showcase their abilities for how good they actually are. Of course, there are many different tricks to get a live recording sounding really, really good these days, but in my opinion, playing live will always be the only way to legitimize your guitar proficiency in this digital modern age. And that has been true since Eddie Van Halen was turning his back to the crowd and tapping in Eruption. People being accused of fake is not new. This has not just come in the past month. This has been a constant thing for probably the past decade, at least on YouTube anyway. Online guitar music space long enough, you might remember that 5 years ago now, there was a big stint in like exposing fake guitarists where Manuel Gardner Fernandez was at the forefront of that. He got absolutely trashed. Big YouTubers were kind of exposing his playing for being fake and for the playthroughs being mimed and stuff like that. But 5 years later, Manu has more than proven that he is the real deal. He's been touring live with his band that entire time. And to this day, he continues to push boundaries and inspire future generations of guitar players. I recently toured with Unprocessed. I saw it in front of me every single night. Me and Manu actually had a great chat about this very, very topic, as this was like kind of at the start of Jacob's first video where he was exposing someone for being a fake player. And we got to talking about how he was kind of in that same boat 5 years ago. And the conclusion of that conversation that we had was more or less like, you know, this is again, not new. Every single player that has ever pushed boundaries on guitar has been accused of being fake. And I'm sure that there's many fake players that, of course, have been accused of being fake. People used to say that Tosin's playing was fake. People used to say that Jason Richardson's playing was fake. All these guys that were, again, constantly pushing the boundaries of guitar, people just said, oh, well, that's not humanly possible. It's fake, and here's why. And they might just like pull up some old video of them miming something and have that as their reasoning. The point that me and Manu kind of came to was that, you know, whether you're Tosin or Jason Richardson or Manu himself or anyone else that's been accused, the real players prove themselves every single time. And we don't sit here today and say that Tosin's playing is fake, or we don't sit here and say that, oh, well, Jason Richardson recorded this at half speed, so he's not the real deal. He will do it in front of you live if he wants to. And again, this is just something that if you really do fake something and you can't play it live, there's no amount of trickery that you can do to convince someone in the moment, because when they're sitting in front of you, watching your hands, if you just can't do what it sounds like you're doing, then that's all the reasoning that people need to think that you're fake. And the last reason as to why I think fake guitar playing and fake guitarists are actually good for guitar players is that if everything is fake, songwriting and the things that you write will be the only common denominator between everyone. In the digital guitar age, it's no secret that, you know, people are using the same guitar plugins, the same drum libraries, the same bass libraries, the same mixing techniques. You know, I'm guilty of this myself. I have a whole channel dedicated to showing you guys how to make tones of plugins and how to mix and how to produce and all this stuff. But if everyone is doing that and everyone's using the same tones and everyone's using the same libraries and everyone's faking their playing and cutting it to the grid and miming and doing all this stuff, the musicianship and technicality that is on display while using these things is not going to be interesting anymore. Because in the back of everyone's mind, there will be that thought of, okay, what if this is just fake? If I'm watching someone shred 300 notes in 10 seconds, it means nothing to me, to be completely honest. How they use those techniques, and if they are miming or if they are, you know, making hard edits and stuff like that, if they can make that sound good within the context of a song and they can make an idea that's interesting to listen to, innovative to listen to, I'm actually enjoying myself experiencing it, then that will be the only context that matters if everyone is faking their playing. I don't listen to Animals as Leaders to hear Tosin's selective thump and do all that stuff. I like to listen to Animals as Leaders because for me, I like how Tosin and Javier and Matt present all of these really intricate, interesting, very technical ideas and package it up into something that is somewhat digestible as a music enjoyer and listener. Hearing that buried alive style sort of playing from this new gen of guitarists that, you know, around 20 years old, again, I don't care if they fake it. I don't even care if they say that it's real and they're faking it. That doesn't mean anything to me. At the end of the day, if I like listening to what I'm listening to, That's all that matters to me. And that's the only thing that will matter going forward if it continues to go this way. Being in the live music industry, I guess, for lack of a better term, and playing live now and having a lot of conversations with a lot of people in a lot of big bands, having conversations to front of houses and stuff like that, you would be very, very surprised at the lengths that these bands and acts go to sound as perfect as they can. I thought I was cheesing it a little bit, not gonna lie, especially with like the live gate thing. Of course, I still have to play in time, but you know, I was getting a lot of comments on that video in particular saying that that is kind of pushing the line. If you guys knew what bands do and what your favorite bands are doing, it would just, I think this conversation would be completely different, to be completely honest. But we don't go to shows to watch people shred. I mean, I'm sure in some capacity we do, but in saying that, you're going to a show because you enjoy that person or that artist's music. You go to them because you want to be a part of the live environment. You want to see it in front of you. You want to feel the music. You want to feel those PAs pushing at 100 to 110 dB. You're not going there to really assess if this guy made a hard cut in one Instagram video. That's not the reason why you're there. And like Jacob said in our messages, you know, again, it's just guitar playing. It's not that big of a deal. There's bigger things going on in the world right now than exposing if someone is fake. Young kids who are just posting Instagram videos, you know, let them say that it's real, let them say that it's fake, whatever. I don't care. If your music is interesting, that is the only thing that matters to me. But yeah, those are my 3 reasons as to why I think fake guitar playing and fake guitarists are actually a good thing for the guitar community going forward. If you guys agree or disagree with any of the points that I presented in this video, please let me know in the comments below. I want to hear your takes. I want to hear your theory as to why things are going the way they are and what they are going to be going forward. Again, I just wanted to kind of talk about it and maybe open up a can of worms that hasn't been opened yet and get the guitar community, at least the online guitar community, thinking a little bit differently about this whole fake guitarist phenomenon. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.